First of all, I want to let everybody know that for the last several hours, explosive experts have been from the FBI, ATF offices working to safely remove and dispose of homemade explosives located inside of a residence in Pflugerville, Texas, and that address is 403 North 2nd Street. 403 North 2nd Street. Now, these federal agencies have been working around the clock with local and other federal agencies. Law enforcement have not left this investigation. They have left their families in order to keep our communities safe, and we're working together. I want to ensure the citizens of Pflugerville and those in adjoining jurisdictions that the reason that we evacuated for a 5-block radius was for their safety, to allow these law enforcement agencies to do their job. What we're going to do soon is we're going to shrink that perimeter a few blocks, and you will see police officers and barricades coming up to the Railroad, Walnut, and 2nd Street areas. It will take several hours to process the scene, and I know that we have asked every resident in that perimeter to leave their home. That was a difficult task, but that's how much we cared about their safety. Ladies and gentlemen, patience is going to have to work for us here. We know everybody wants to go home. We know everybody wants to eat dinner with their families, and we want that for you. But we also want to assure that you can sleep safe tonight. So we need to let these agencies do their job. I will ask the Pflugerville residents to go to their library or their recreation center, which is open till 9 o'clock tonight, if you don't have another place to go to, and we will help you. We anticipate several hours. I can't give you a time limit right now because the situation is fluid. We will also be putting information on our city website and updating as soon as we can clear the perimeter and let everyone come home. And that is on pflugervilletx.gov. At this time, Pflugerville City Hall was closed down. It's part of the inner perimeter, and I need people to know that. And we will be taking some questions in a few minutes. So I'm going to let the other gentleman from the federal agency speak. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Fred Milanoski with ATF. We continue to have unprecedented cooperation between law enforcement agencies. At the residence, there was bomb technicians from the FBI, from Austin Police Department, from ATF. They have cleared the house of any completed devices. And so now we have the ATF National Response Team processing the evidence in the house. That team has responded to every significant bombing in America for the last 40 years. They bring a wealth of information, and experience. There is components in there. We've talked about the bomb maker and his signature and how we were able to tell that the same individual manufactured all these devices. There is componentry in there that makes us believe, have a high degree of certainty, that it is the same components that we have found in all the other devices. There is also some potential homemade explosives, and so we had to address that. And our biggest concern was to make sure that nobody else gets hurt, whether it's first responders, whether it's the neighbors. So we apologize for any inconvenience, but our whole goal here was to make sure that we have no other people hurt in this investigation. We're not done with this investigation. It will continue. ATF, FBI resources will stay in town until we have completed and turned over every rock in this investigation. So we will not be leaving town, and we want to make sure there's no other devices out in the public. We have a reasonable level of certainty that there are no other devices, in the public, but we still want the public to be vigilant. The public has been very cooperative so far in this investigation. We want to continue to report to their 911 centers if they see anything that's suspicious. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to echo what Fred said and make sure that the public maintains their vigilance. There could be other packages out there. We think we're on top of this, but we just don't know. So for the next couple of days, we want to continue that messaging of be careful when you see things suspicious, to call it in immediately. I'd like to thank the Pflugerville Police Chief. Pflugerville Police have been fantastic on this scene. It's a lot when 500 federal agents come in and kind of invade an area, and we have had nothing but cooperation from our state and local partners through this whole thing. We will have those resources here for as long as it takes. We're working very hard in this scene. We've made the scene safe. We're still working some other scenes, and we will make sure everything is safe. We collect all the evidence that we need before we leave Texas. I'd like to thank everyone for their cooperation. I'd like to thank the media for helping us getting out the messages of safety, the reward that we put up out there, and all the help that you've given us throughout this entire endeavor. I really want to thank the FBI people, the ATF people. We got 500 agents that we pulled in from all over the country. With spring break, we ruined everybody's spring break, but the most important thing is people were dying and people were getting hurt, and we had to move those resources. We have moved considerable federal resources here to the Austin area to get on top of this quickly and to make sure that we could stop these bombs from continuing. It's a massive effort. You haven't seen an effort like this in many, many years. And I just want to thank everyone that we've called up to come here, to leave their families, and to work so hard to keep Texas safe. Thank you very much.
How many devices were found?
Agent Coombs, what's the status in regards to the investigation of additional suspects and the 2 roommates?
So I can't get into investigative details right now because we're really still in that. I can tell you that we're looking at any associates that the subject might have had to make sure this is singular in nature, and there are other people that knew about this, but that continues.
Let's ask her question. As far as completed device, there was no completed devices in the house. There was componentry and the homemade explosive material that we found in the house, and that's what we were most concerned about, and making sure we were able to safely deal with that. I wouldn't characterize it as full of material. There's primarily one room that is got a considerable amount of material that makes us believe that it's similar in nature to the devices that we had.
Would you call it a bomb-making factory?
I wouldn't call it a bomb-making factory, but there's definitely components consistent with what we've seen in all these other devices.
Are you any closer to establishing a motive for this? A motive? Have you established a motive for this?
Not this time. There'll be some information coming out later on that, but this time it's still unsure. You know, we still have a lot of investigative leads out there. We're going to complete all those investigative leads. The laboratory is going to process this evidence, and sometime in the future we may be able to put out information, but not at this time.
Have you been able to learn just how he was able to learn how to make these devices?
Yes, so the ATF explosive experts working with the FBI bomb technicians have been able to reconstruct all these devices throughout this investigation. So that's how we know what the components are. I know to the public they may look all different, but when you look at the internal components, they're very similar to us. And from laboratory analysis, we know that it's the same person who manufactured these.
How he was able to, was this self-taught? Are you able to see how he gained such expertise in this?
That's a great question. We're still analyzing internet searches and there's probably books in there. We don't know the answer to that at this time.
What do you assume that whoever went into that house?
We've got time for 2 more questions.
Can you address the roommate?
2 more questions, Ed.
I was just saying, is it safe to assume that whoever lived in that house had to have known what was going on, what was being built in that room?
Again, that's a difficult question to answer. To know what people knew, there's obviously private rooms in that house. There was one door that had a lock on it, so I can't give you an answer until we complete the investigation and do all the interviews and get more information.
An electronic manifesto that he has left behind. Have you found that, and what is in it?
So again, this investigation is ongoing. We can't get into the details right now. We're looking through everything. It's going to take us time to go through the suspect's car last night and the house today. So we'll keep building that up to see exactly why this happened. Was there anybody else involved? I do want to caution you, there's a lot of names floating out there. We don't want to say names because we don't know if they're innocent or guilty, right? There's been major events in the past where names have come out that we were talking to people. It does not mean that they are suspects. So we want to stay away from roommates and other people that we're talking to because we really don't know who's given just witness statements versus who might be a part of that. So I just want to caution everybody on that.
Has the threat
Thank
to
you. I'm
public
sorry,
safety
we
been
don't,
eliminated?
hey guys, we don't have time for any more questions. We have some more operations going on. Thank you very much.
One question about the public safety. Is the public
Will there be any
safe
pressure
from
later
all
on?
of this?
I think APD might be doing
Have
it.
to come. Is the
The
public
next
now
hour,
safe?
that's what we gotta get.
When's the next press conference going to be?
We don't know, but APD might be putting something out. Check APD's Twitter.